Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tonight is 13th of Jumad al-Ula 1439. We're starting chapter 51 from the commentary of Kitab Tawheed by Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah. And chapter 51 starts with the verse of Surah Al-A'raf, verse number 180, translated in English as, "And all the most beautiful names belong to Allah, so call on Him by them, and leave the company of those who belie or deny or utter impious speech against His names."
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Indeed, all praise is to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This chapter is with the starting of the verse, like so many chapters before, they start with a verse. And the verse is in Surah Al-A'raf, and it talks about the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the attributes of His. It says, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. The value that belong to Allah is the beautiful names. فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. Call upon Him with those names. So, the Tawheed, as we have understood from the beginning, is three categories. Tawheed al-Ibadah, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, and Tawheed al-Asma' al-Sifat. Tawheed al-Asma' al-Sifat is actually to affirm to Allah and single Him with whatever is being confirmed and affirmed by the Almighty or His Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from the names and the attributes without tamtheel, that is anthropomorphism, or takyif, or giving an example of it, or how it looks, wala ta'til, or alteration and negation. So if you, for example, reinterpret a name or a verse or an attribute to mean not the meaning of it, then actually you have dysfunctioned it. You have not given it the right. So for example, if you said Allah descends, you say descendants is His rahmah, His mercy. So you have actually dysfunctioned Allah the Almighty from going down. And His descendants is suitable to His majesty. That's all we need to do, is that we affirm the names and the attributes that Allah had affirmed for Himself, or His Prophet ﷺ had affirmed for Him in an authentic hadith, without any giving an example. That is, there's no anthropomorphism. That means that He does not look like His creation, and we don't give Him a how it is, because we don't know how. So there is a how, but we don't know how, and also without alteration, and also without negation. Alteration means you don't really alter the attribute to mean something else, or negation is to deny it, so it's got no meaning for you. And those who are Jahmiyyah and the Ghulaf and the Mu'tazila, they are the ones who have negated the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His attributes. And that is why the Jahmiyyah, some of the scholars, take them out of the 72 groups who are from the hellfire to be our kuffar, because the 72 who are in the hellfire, except for one which is in paradise, are all of them from the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, Allah starts with this verse, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. We have discussed the names of Allah in a number of places. I think mainly in two places, not far long. If we go to chapter, which is the chapter we discussed, it, chapter 47, and it says the respect to the names of Allah, in which we discussed everything to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names. Are they to be the same, or they are too different? Like Allah, As-Sami, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. We discussed also, are these names to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or is it to somebody else? Can we name somebody, for example, Ar-Rahman? We said no. Can we put somebody's an example, Rahim? Yes. But we're not looking at the attribute. When we say His name is Rahim as a name. We don't look at the name Rahim as merciful, because we don't really look at Him as a merciful. He could be a wicked person, but His name is Rahim. Whereas Allah's name is all of it mushtaqah, meaning it implements the meaning of it. So when we say Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Khaliq, Al-Raziq, Al-An, Al-Alim, so this is the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they implement and entail a meaning, which is the meaning of an attribute of Asma' Husna. Also we said regarding the names that they are not limited to any particular number. Some of the names we don't know, which Allah had kept to himself. And we said also that the names that we know are more than the 99 mentioned in the hadith in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. And we said that the hadith talks about he who من أحصى لله 99 اسم لله فبرد إن لله 99 اسم to Allah belong 99 names. من أحصاها دخل الجنة. Who does إحصاء to it دخل الجنة. And we said the إحصاء means three things: to know the meaning and the wording. It's not to memorize. To know the meaning and the wording of that name, that particular name, and secondly to call Allah with that name. That's as well from the word ahsah. And the third one is to worship Allah through that name. So if you knew that He is merciful, then you are, when you ask in Allah, oh, you are the merciful, have mercy upon me. Oh, you are the Ghafoor, the forgiving, forgive me. So you understand it, meaning and wordings, and you call upon Allah with it. Ya Allah, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Rahman, Ya Dal Jalali wal Ikram. And also you worship Allah through that name. So if you say you are the Sami', the one who you are as well hear the thing that beyond our hearing. You are the all-hearing. So فَدْعُوهُ بِهَا. The ayah says, call upon Him with those names. And this call, always we said, is two types: calling of worship, du'a or ibadah, and the call of request, du'a or mas'ala. The du'a or the mas'ala is that when you call Him with the tongue. Allahumma anta al-rahim, anta al-ghafoor, anta al-razzaq, ya dal jalali wal ikram. This is, so you are using the names as a request, and also you are using the name of to ibadah. So when you say ya al-razzaq, ya dal jalali wal ikram, ya khaliq, so ya wahid, ya ahad, also I'm calling Him with ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. And your Lord said to you, ادْعُونِي, call upon me, and I will respond to you. Then He said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِهِ. The ones who are pride and arrogant not to make ibadah. So He called the supplication to be what? Ibadah. So, we don't say that there is no benefit if you call upon Allah's name and you don't understand the meaning of it. But this is not the way that Allah wants us to worship. He wants us to know the meaning of Allah, Al-Razzaq, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, Al-Most Beneficent, the Omnipotent, Al-Latif, Al-Khabir, Al-Dar, Al-Nafi'. So Allah doesn't just want us to know names which are empty of attributes. He wants us to learn as well the names and what they entail. So when we call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His names, it means two things. That is du'a al-ibadah and the du'a al-mas'ala. So in du'a al-ibadah, that is you worship Allah through that name. And also, it's du'a al-mas'ala to request Allah. So you are putting Allah's name every time you want to call upon Him. So you want to call upon Him, you say, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, Ya Raziq, Ya Razzaq, Ya Kareem. And you use that particular name suitable to your dua. So you don't say, Oh Lord, kill the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal, Ya Ghafoor, you are forgiven. That's not right. You want to use the right name to the right dua. So Ya Qahir, you're most omnipotent. So you say, Ya Qahir, Ihzim al-A'da. And, Oh Lord, for example, you're going to ask for mercy. Oh Allah, have mercy upon me. For verily, you are the one who takes vendetta, intiqam. And you're going to use that for the sake of having mercy upon you. So you use the right name for the right supplication you're going to be doing. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the verse, وَذَرُوا الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي أَسْمَائِهِ. And forsake and leave, abandon the ones who makes ilhad in His names. Now to leave is not to leave completely as in the sake of that you don't really show them the haqq and give them an advice. It's not that. Or make dua for them that they will be upon the haqq. You don't leave him like this. For when you see a zalim, you don't leave him on his dhulm. An oppressor, you don't leave him on oppression. So here it is actually, this is a verse to threaten those who are the ones who make an ilhad, shirk in His name. To threaten them that Allah is commanding the believers to abandon them. not to be associating themselves with them. So that is a threatening deterrence for those people making shirk. But it does not mean to us not to really have a sort of a munasaha, an advice to those people who are making shirk in His names. And the word ilhad, and the beautiful thing about the Arabic, every word has got a root for it. So ilhad is from lahd, and lahd means you tilt, you go away from. And that is why we say, for example, the one who is digging the grave this way and then going towards the Qibla, it's called lahd, not shaq, because it is tilted towards the Qibla. So with lahd, we got shaq when we dig the grave. Shaq is the hole like that, and the lahd is we go down and then we go tilted towards what? Towards the grave. So they are tilted from the names of Allah. Ilhad means you going away from the haq. That's what the ilhad. So the ilhad is number of types. Ilhad, which is the person he denies anything from the names of Allah, or anything from the attributes that is being entailed by these names of Allah. So this is also ilhad. So you are denying some or all the names, and you deny some or all the attributes which are being taken from those names. The second thing, which is ilhad in the names of Allah, is that you affirm to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a name which He did not name Himself with. And you affirm to Allah an attribute, this is ilhad in His sifat, ilhad in His attribute, an attribute which does not belong to Him. So ilhad in the names, it means number one, you deny some or all the names of Allah, or you deny some of all that is the attribute which is entailed by that name. The ilhad in the name also means that you are attributing to Allah a name which He does not attribute to Himself. The third also type of ilhad is that you are affirming the name, but you are making it to entail an attribute which is not the right attribute for that name. So you say, for example, Allah Sami'un Basirun Qadir. And you say as well that Allah also similar to the human being, He is Sami'un Basirun Qadir. So you are actually making tashbih. You are making similarity. So the third type of ilhad is to make to Allah's names an similarity. So you have saying Allah is Qadir and also the human being is Qadir. Allah is Sami' and also the human being is Sami'. So yes, the names look like each other, but the sam' of ours is not like the sam' of Allah. The qudra of Allah is not the qudra of Allah. The fourth type of the person will make ilhad as well is that you derive from the names of Allah a name to an idol, a statue. Like those people at the time of Quraysh, they called Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, taken from the names of Allah, Allah, Al-Aziz, Manah, from the Mannan, and so on and so forth. Right, so these are the types of ilhad in the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, the other hadith, which is Ibn Abi Hatim, Ibn Abbas, Fadal.
Ibn Abi Hatim reported that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said regarding the verse, which is who belie ordinary things, that ilhad means who commits shirk. Also reported from him that they derived Al-Lat and from Al-Ilah and Al-Uzza from Al-Aziz.
Basically, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says it is shirk, and he means the shirk that is we mentioned in number 3 and 4 from the types of ilhad. What is 3 and 4 we said? Number 3, we said that they have similarity. The names of Allah similar to the names of the human being. Allah Qadir, human being. And the fourth one we said, that is to derive from the names of Allah names to the statues. So they made Al-Lat from the Ilah, Al-Uzza from the Aziz, and we gave another name, Manat from the Mannan. Okay, so as well, that is as well called ilhad. And we have Al-A'mash, and Radis from the scholars of the era of the followers, he says.
And Al-A'mash said, they include in it that which is not among it.
And that is the type that we have said from the third type. If you remember, we said the second type. And that is to give a name to Allah, which Allah did not name Himself with, is also called ilhad. So we're given now 3 types. We're given as well a 4th type, if you remember, to deny all or some of the names of Allah, or to deny some or all of the attributes that is entailed by that name. Right, so alhamdulillah, the chapter now actually is finished, and we go to the matters. Further.
The important issues, first, affirming the names.
And that is being taken from the verse, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءِ. So we affirm the names which Allah had affirmed for Himself, or it's been affirmed by His Prophet ﷺ in an authentic hadith. Second.
The second, the fact that they are all beautiful.
Husna, that means the ultimate. The ultimate. So when we say Allah al-Mutakabbir, Allah al-Aziz. Al-Mutakabbir means the pride. He's one of His names, and entails as well the sifa of kibr. And kibr, the pride, is for Allah, is different from the kibr for us. In us, kibr is what? Good or not bad? Or bad? Bad. Whereas in Allah, kibr is good, because kibr means self-sufficient. It doesn't mean anybody. Kibr. But you got a need of everything. Allah has got the right to have the kibr. You don't have the right to have kibr because you are a person who is actually a human being. You came out from the hole that is a hole for urination. That whether it's your father's tool for urination or your mother's tool for urination, you came from both of them. So how can you have a pride? Now coming to the third issue, and that is?
And the third, the order that he should be invoked therewith.
And to invoke Him with 2 things. You pour with the name Ya Allah, Ya Razzaq, and also Dua al-Ibadah, which is to know what is Ya Razzaq, Ya Kareem, and we have discussed that. Number 4.
And the fourth, avoiding those who contradict it among the ignorant deniers.
The ones who deny make ilhad, to leave them, but it's not to leave their advice. Okay? To leave their path, that's what it means. To leave their what? To follow their path, but not to leave them as in not to call them and make dua to them and to discuss the issue with them and try to, guide them. Number 5.
Fifth, explanation of ilhad.
And we have given you 4 types of ilhad. And number 6.
The 6th, the warning for whoever commits ilhad.
Which we haven't said because this is the finishing of the verse, which is not mentioned in the chapter, and that is the finishing. It says, يُجْزَوْنَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And those people will receive the recompense of what they have done. Okay? The recompense of what they have done. Now, Imam Ibn al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he had given us more to this chapter as a benefit. He said that the text came to threaten the person to make ilhad in not just the names of Allah, also in the signs of Allah. Allah says in Surah Fussilat, verse number 40, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا لَا خَوْنَ عَلَيْنَا. That is the ones who are making ilhad in our signs, they're not going to be hidden from us. So this is a threat. They're not going to be hidden from us. Wherever they're going to go, they're going to be recompensed for what they're going to be doing. They're going to be punished. So the verses of Allah, the signs of Allah are of 2 types, which are signs that universal, and that is all the creations like the sun and the moon and the heavens and the earth and all of that, the mountains and the trees and the animals, all of that from the universal signs of Allah. And to make ilhad in those signs is of 3 types. First type is to have the belief that other than Allah has some of those signs, so that other than Allah Azza wa Jal is in control of one of these signs. Like one is in control of the clouds, one in control of the mountains, one in control of the rain, at least called Qutub, Gawth, all of that. That's ilhad. And the second ilhad in those signs is that you believe that Allah has a partner in some or all of those ayat and signs. The third type of ilhad is that you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a helper in creating them. So He hasn't got a partner in running them, but He's got a helper in producing them and creating them. So that is as well ilhad. And the second ayat which are Shari'iyah. Ayat al-Shari'iyah, which is like the Quran. These are the signs, and they are from the Shari, from the legislation. So, how do we make ilhad in such signs? There are 3 types as well, and 3 ways of doing ilhad in this. And that is number 1, to belie it. To belie, that is, regarding those signs, to belie the Quran, to belie the Prophet. And number 2, that is, to go against it, to basically to contradict whatever the ahkam it tells you. For example, don't fornicate, you fornicate. Don't sin, you sin. That's as well ilhad. And the third one is the alteration in whether the ahkam, to alter it. So when we say, for example, it's not pelting with a stone, it's something else. So you alter it. So basically making ilhad in the universal sign or the legislative or the legislation sign is to be haram. Some of it is to be kufr, like denying it, belying it. So he who belies something while he believes that Allah is the owner, Allah is the creator, then it's a kafir. And some of it could be, like this, a sin. And it could be from the major sin. Like for example, you kill somebody, you fornicate. Or some of it is what it could be from the minor sins. And that is like looking at a woman you're not supposed to look at. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hajj verse 25, وَمَنْ يُرِدْ فِيهِ بِإِلْحَادٍ بِظُلْمٍ نُذِقْهُ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. And he who intends to make ilhad in the Masjid al-Haram with oppression, dhulm, wrong, then we will make him to taste from the severe torment or punishment. Here, Allah had called upon or named those sins to be dhulm and ilhad, oppression and ilhad, which is tilting, going away from the haqq. So when you make ilhad, you go away from the haqq. And this is not to be kufr. So he's talking about the sins. So for verily, what is incumbent upon you is to go on the straight path. And he who does not go on the straight path, then he made ilhad. He went to tilt away from it. So tilting, it is not necessary all the time kufr, but some of it kufr, some of it major sins, and some of it is minor sins. This chapter is finished. We go to chapter 52, and that is the chapter لا يقال السلام على الله. Now,
chapter 52. It should not be said as-salam unto Allah.
Now this is a title which is being given by the Imam rahimahullah. It starts with negation, not to say. And is it not to say as for haram or just disliked? And it's more likely it is haram, as because he's going to bring the hadith in a minute. The hadith which is from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is to say it is haram, to say peace be upon Allah. Because the peace has number of meanings. Peace means, salam, means to welcome somebody. So you say, send my salam to somebody, send my, to welcome him. The second one is actually to say salam, that means you are salim, you are from salama, you have no deficiency in you. So when you say as-salam, it means you have no deficiency, you are perfect. And as-salam also, the third meaning, is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, al-Malik al-Quddus, as-salam al-Muhaymin, to the end of the verse. So when he says chapter, the chapter does not to say as-salamu ala Allah, peace be upon Allah. Don't say peace be upon Allah. How can you say that? That peace, when you say that, is that you are saying that Allah is not complete. Because as I said, remember one of the meanings that it's not complete. So you have, salama means you are healthy, nothing wrong with you. So you say healthy upon Allah, that means Allah is not healthy. Allah has got something wrong with him. That's what it means. So it's like you're calling upon Allah to eliminate the deficiency in him. And that's kufr. And also, when you are saying salamu ala Allah, that is, you're calling upon Allah to say salam unto himself, for verily, he cannot call himself to himself. He's the one to call him. We call upon Allah to give us the peace. Not to call Allah to give peace upon himself. And that is as well from those things which are negating the Tawheed. So what is the link for this chapter to the Tawheed? Especially the Tawheed of the attributes is linked because Allah's attributes are to be the ultimate and they're all husna. So Allah Azza wa Jal has the highest example. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى وَلَهُ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. So he's got the complete attribute. So when you say peace be upon Allah, you are actually somehow saying Allah is incomplete, he's got deficiency, and that would negate the ultimate and the husna of his names and his attributes. So this chapter linked to the one before it, because the chapter before it was to do with attributing the names of Allah, which is al-husna, which entails his as well attributes, and this chapter is to do with the attributes of Allah, that is supposed to be safe from any deficiency in them, so they are complete and they are ultimate. For verily, ultimate and complete or completion cannot be achieved except by confirming and affirming the complete attributes of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and to negate whatever is opposite to it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is to be attributed by the best of the names and the best of the attributes. And when you say Salamu ala Allah, you are negating that ultimate in His attributes. Coming to the hadith in As-Sahih. When it is in As-Sahih, it could be Sahih Bukhari, or it could be Sahih Muslim, or it could be both. In this example, it's in both. Now,
it occurs in the Sahih from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu that he said, whenever we observe the prayer together with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we would say, As-salam be upon Allah.
Have we ever observed the Salah
together with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Yeah,
we would say, As-salam be upon Allah from His slaves.
So basically it means that whenever we are with the Prophet of Allah in the Salah, we are the Prophet of Allah in the Salah, okay? So we say, go on, peace.
And As-salam be upon Allah from His slaves.
Then
As-salam be upon so and so and so and so. Thereupon the Prophet ﷺ said, do not say As-salam unto Allah, for Allah is As-salam.
Right. So here it looks like the obligatory prayer, because usually with the Prophet of Allah in congregation with the obligatory prayer, not the voluntary prayer. That whenever with the Prophet in the Salah, when we say make it tashahhud, we say what? Salamu ala Allah. And that's wrong. And he said Salamu ala Allah from his slaves. So we are saying Salamu ala Allah, O Allah, Salamu alayk, from his slave. They think it's right. Even their ignorance did not save them from that correction from the Prophet. So the Prophet ﷺ, he would save them from this sin because he didn't know. But he cannot save them from the correction. He has to tell them this is wrong. So he said to them, this is wrong. Don't say Salamu ala Allah. For verily Allah is the peace. And at the same time they said, we used to say Assalamu ala fulani wa fulan, peace be upon so and so and so and so. Assalamu ala Nabi. So the Prophet ﷺ did not correct the second. He corrected the what? The first. So the second is correct, but the first is not wrong. So when you say Assalamu ala Allah, peace be upon Allah, from his slaves, you are calling health to Allah, to be safe from the deficiencies. So how can you ask Allah to save Himself from the deficiency? Even if you don't mean it, but then the wording, that's what it means. So in that sense, the Prophet said, don't say Assalamu ala Allah. Now the other, which is Assalamu, when he said Assalamu ala fulan wa fulan, peace be upon so and so and so and so. This narration came in Sahih al-Bukhari, Assalamu ala Jibreel wa Mika'il. Peace be upon Jibreel and Mika'il. And the Prophet ﷺ did not say this is wrong. He left it as permissible to say salam upon the angels, because the Prophet of Allah did not prohibit them from saying that. Right, now we're going to the end of the chapter, which is the issues. Now,
the important issues. The first is a meaning of As-salam.
Salam is from the names of Allah. It means the one who is salim, saved from the deficiencies, and in terms of its being a welcoming greeting, salam, it means that is that the name of Allah is upon you. It means the name of Allah is the one who is a salam upon you, and it means as well that is from saying Assalamu alaikum. I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to save you. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you safe at the same time. Second one,
The second, that it is a form of greeting.
And that is, we've just said, welcoming. Number 3.
Third one, that it is not suitable to Allah.
Because it is haram. Number 4.
Number fourth is the reason for that.
The reason for that is because Allah is the peace, He's the salam. And we've explained it. Number 5.
And the fifth, they've been taught the salutation that befits Allah.
So the continuation of this hadith, which we haven't mentioned, is that if one of you prays, then let him say At-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat as-salamu ala nabi. You understand me? So the continuation of this hadith is to show them tashahhud. So here it shows them how Prophet of Allah was good in teaching. He told them this is wrong and this is the alternative. So when he told them why it is wrong, it's good because it's got lots of benefit. When you tell somebody this is wrong, you tell them why, then the person who's listening, he will have more comfortable, it would be more comfortable to believe what you're saying, because you tell them why, not just to say, Khalas, don't do it. So if you don't do it, you tell them why, the person is not really more relaxed and comfortable. So when you can tell him why, the reason, because he said Allah is the peace, you can't say peace be upon Allah. So that is, as I said, to clarify the misconception in the person's heart. And also it tells us that the second benefit from this, when you tell somebody why you should not do this and why you should do that, is that to show that how Sharia is absolved from any deficiency. That means all its commands and prohibition is linked to wisdom. There is a reason behind it. It's not just like that. And the third issue as well that you learn, that whenever you have similar issues to it, you could be able to use a similar argument to as well run the same rule on it. So when you tell them why, so you have any other issues which got the same why, the same reason, then you implement the rules that Allah's Messenger had implemented, because it's got the similar what? Causes, the similar reasons, similar why it is being prohibited or being commanded. Is that understood? Okay. So here we find that is when the Prophet ﷺ told them why, we got the benefit is that is he had this shows how the Prophet ﷺ was a good teacher. Also shows how he was a good teacher is that when he told them not to do it, he gave them alternative. And it's very good to give them an alternative. Okay? From this hadith we learn that we should not stay quiet if there is something wrong. Prophet ﷺ said something wrong, he corrected it. He said, don't say salamu ala. Okay, it's incumbent upon a Muslim and upon the scholars to clarify the Sharia and the laws to the people and tell them this is haram, this is halal, regardless of what you fear from the consequences. So you should tell them halal, haram, unless you think if I tell them it's going to lead to more haram, there's something else. But how can you draw the line? How can you draw the line? 53.
Chapter 53. The saying, O Allah, forgive me if you so wish.
This is the chapter to show the full sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His completeness and His perfection. And this is from the attribute of perfection. When you say Allahumma, that means O Allah. And this is a word that we use only or every time that we beseech Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allahumma. It is ighfirli, that is forgive for me. Forgive here, maghfirah, it means to hide my sin and not to exceed it, because it's from the word al-maghfir, which is the which is the helmet that would protect the person's head when he fights the enemies. From that word, ghufran means hide my sins, O Lord. And Allah Azza wa Jalla on the day of resurrection, when He confronts His slave, He would say to him, for verily these are your sins. Do you deny them? No. He said, like just I have concealed them and hid them for you in this dunya, I'm hiding them for you in the akhirah. And that is from the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jalla on His slaves. Just like I didn't like people to know about your sins, which you do between four walls, then I'm going to forgive it for you. I'm not going to give you as well to be a scandal. Imagine the Jannah, and you enter it, and everybody else had heard what you've done. And in Jannah, you've been doing this in the dunya, you've been doing that in the dunya. No, He had hidden that for you for the dunya, and He will hide that for you in the akhirah. And He says, in shit. So in his dua, He says, oh Lord, forgive for me if you wish. Now that is when you say if you wish. Is that correct or not? Let's see the hadith. Now, Because he said, Bab, chapter to say Allahumma maghfir. Is it haram or is it halal? The author just made it like this. We're going to see what does he mean. Is it wrong or right? We're going to arrive to the conclusion it's wrong. Let's see what the hadith says.
It is contained in the Sahih from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu.
Now this Sahih here means Bukhari and Muslim here. As I said, sometimes Bukhari, and so sometimes Muslim, sometimes both. Now,
from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "No one among you should say, O Allah, forgive me if you so wish. O Allah, shower mercy on me if you so wish." He should be determined in his supplication. Allah has not anything to compel him.
Right. So we know from this hadith, that is, finish the Muslim.
In the Muslim's version, he should be firm in his crave. Nothing is too big for Allah. He gives it.
Firm?
Firm in his crave.
No. Well, يُعَظِّمُ الرَّغْبَ, that means let him magnify his request. That means let him ask more. So if you ask him, don't ask the ultimate. So for example, you ask in Jannah, oh Allah, give me the what? The Firdaus al-A'la, highest. Well, يُعَظِّمُ الرَّغْبَ. So let him make it more. For really nothing more for Allah. Nothing will make Allah incapable of fulfilling what you asked. That's what it means. Right. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا يقول أحدكم. This is that the chapter now means that you're not supposed to say that. Oh Lord, forgive me if you wish. Because he said to him, said to the Prophet, he said, لا يقول. Not one of you to say as a prohibition. Allahumma aghfirli. Oh Lord, forgive for me if you wish. Oh Allah, have mercy upon me if you wish. Let him be, he says determined, mean let him be affirmative. Affirm. So let him be a sort of determined, and not just determined as well, let him be affirmed and staying with power. I want this. For verily Allah, there's nothing can compel him to do something that he doesn't want to do. So this is to show why you're not supposed to say Allahumma firli in shit, or Lord forgive me if you wish, because it's got three things which are wrongs. Number one is you're given a hint that Allah has somebody compelling him, that you are compelling Allah, you are demanding Allah, and Allah has no option except to fulfill what you have demanded him to do. So you are giving a hint that there is somebody can really prevent him from giving you what you ask for. Okay? So you say to him, I'm not going to push you, O Lord. Okay, I'm not going to push you, forgive me if you wish. That's what he means. That's why it's haram. So if you forgive me, if you don't want to forgive me, because I'm not going to push you, because maybe you are compelled, you are under pressure, O Lord. Second issue is that when you say, if you wish, it's like you're saying that that thing you're asking is too much for Allah to fulfill. Okay, it's like, I think I've asked you too much. And that's why I'm going to say to you, O Lord, if you wish. So if you think it's too much, you could leave it. And that is why he said in Sahih Muslim, let him go to his maximum. Not that you think, oh, I'm not going to ask that much because maybe Allah will not be able to fulfill it. No, go to the ultimate. For when Allah, there's nothing, would make him incapable of fulfilling whatever he wants to give you. So لِيَعْظِمَ الرَّغْبَةِ وَلْيُعَظِّمَ الرَّغْبَةِ. So let him ask whatever he wants, whether it's too much or little. Okay, you don't say, oh, it's too much for me to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And the third issue is that, which is not really as well prohibited when you say that, is that you are actually giving a hint that you don't care. So if you wish, that means I'm not concerned whether you're going to forgive me or not. Because I'm self-sufficient and I don't really have, I don't have the need for you to forgive me. That's giving a hint as well when you say that. Okay, so this is why you're not supposed to say, oh Lord, forgive me if you wish. Oh Lord, have mercy upon me if you wish. Because of those three things. So you think that Allah is compelled to do something that He doesn't want to do. Number two is actually you think that is whatever you're asking, it will be too much for Allah. That's why you're saying if you wish. And number three, that is you are giving a hint that you're not concerned. You're not even bothered whether it's going to give you the forgiveness or the mercy or not. Okay? That is why you call upon Allah with affirmative. Forgive me, O Lord. Have mercy upon my Lord. Right. Now, what about the response of Allah? Fulfilling your supplication. Should I be as well can affirm with it? That means I am 100% that Allah will fulfill what I've asked Him for. So we say that if you are talking about the capability of Allah, you should be assured. So you have to be affirmed and believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of fulfilling what you've asked for. But in terms of your supplication, you're going to be fulfilled, it's going to be, that is, maybe you would say that Allah will not give it to me because I'm a sinner. I don't deserve it. That's no problem. He's saying that there's something, so you have hesitation, okay, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give it to you because you are not good enough. We would say that's allowed, but it's not good. You have to have what? Husn al-dhan, good opinion about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ahsin al-dhanna billah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might overlook all that sins of yours and give you. And give you what you want to ask, what you've asked. Okay? So you have to have ihsan al-dhan billah, good opinion. So even though that you believe maybe you're not going to be fulfilled because you don't deserve it, you're a bad person, and you know how many sins I've done, and that's why Allah is going to fulfill it. No, have a good thought, even if you are a sinner. So you say that Allah is going to fulfill it. So have good thought in Allah Azza wa Jalla. But remember, in your dua, you have to be as well realistic. You don't ask something which is haram. Oh Lord, sever my kinship with my sister, or my mother, or my father. You can't ask haram. So you have to be as well realistic in your dua. You can't ask haram from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Oh Lord, have oppression upon them like they have oppression upon me. How can you know that? Allah cannot have oppression. Dhulm. You could have, oh Lord, make vendetta for me, revenge, but not to oppress them like they oppress them. How can you make us Allah to ask Allah to oppress them? So dhulm means doing something which is wrong. Also, if you're asking something which is not realistic, like saying, oh Lord, make me a prophet, or make me an angel. I want to be an angel. Okay. That's not right as well. طيب, another question? Give me closer. Of course, I don't give. You're a new customer, and I don't give you the question to the person sitting in the back. Now.
What you said about that when you see something wrong, you should say something like
But he said, behind me here, a machine.
He said that when you see something haram, you
Should say it's haram, yes.
So it's same on the non-Muslim, you said?
Depends. That's it. I'm just saying, you should say it's haram. This could be from the heart, the weakest iman. Or it could be the tongue, which is stronger iman, and it could be with the hand, and there's the strongest. So the situation depends. So if I see somebody who is, like for example, a disbeliever, and he's doing like some of these, putting a big mustache. I've seen one, wallahi, I can't forget him. I was in a service station on the motorway, and I saw him. I went to the toilet, and then pretended back to go to, actually I pretended back to going back, not to go to the toilet, because I want to see him again. Is he like that or not? Because I've seen mustaches, but not like this. It's coming inside. And he's eating. How can he eat? I don't know. Because he needs two spoons at a time. One spoon to lift the mustache, and the spoon, the second one to go inside. I said, Alhamdulillah, upon the deen. Allah, Alhamdulillah. So, if I see such person, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to say to him, out of curiosity, why are you putting this mustache? And I was like, well, I believe it's wrong because my God told me this is wrong. And as well, intellectually speaking, rationally speaking, that is not going to be helpful to your food. I mean, I don't feel comfortable if you eat from the same plate that I'm eating with because you're putting your hairs in it. You know, when you go to a restaurant, if you have a single hair in the food, that's it. So you're dipping all that. Imagine you're going to drink a stew or a soup from the same bowl I'm going to be drinking. I don't know what sort of germs and virus is going to be there. So, Prophet of Allah is an example with help. He had seen two people as messengers from Kisra, Khosrus. They had no beard and they had a big mustache. So he said straight away, who commanded you doing this? He said, our Lord. Our Lord means Kisra because they treat him as a god. He said, as for my Lord commanded me to trim my mustache and let go my beard. The opposite. That's his da'wah. So he told him this is wrong. He started with this. So it depends on how you start your deen. And I remember I said in this gathering of the circle, a long time ago maybe, that the person, when the Prophet ﷺ, he said to Ali ibn Abi Talib, soon as you come to the fortresses of Khaybar, and let me the first thing to call him, because they are the people of the book, La ilaha illallah. Now, you are as a da'iyah, you start to develop more tools which are good for the da'wah. So if you think that this person, if he comes to Islam, but as soon as he finds out something particular in that deen, he will leave the deen, then you start with that before you start with the da'wah of that. So there's a woman here, she's arguing about man for women, one for one. So she's going to embrace Islam, and she didn't find out later on that we're allowed to marry four. She might abandon the deen. That's what it started. By the way, we as Muslims, we believe the male are allowed to 4. I'm not saying every male should have 4, they're allowed up to 4. Just before you enter Islam, you might what? Leave Islam. Because we don't want somebody to come to the deen and leave out. To come to the deen and stay in the deen. And I remember in High Wycombe, in my masjid, there was a person, for a month I'm seeing him coming to Fajr. MashaAllah. So out of curiosity, as an imam, I said, brother, MashaAllah, I've been seeing you. Are you Muslim? He said, no, I'm not a Muslim. He comes to every Fajr. He's not a Muslim. I said, why is that? He said, I'm trying the hardest thing in the deen before I embrace it. For him, the hardest thing is what? But he came to the Fajr, MashaAllah, and then he embraced Islam. After Islam, he doesn't come to Fajr as he used to be before Islam. So before Islam, MashaAllah, 100%. After he embraced Islam, I think he missed out with those Muslims who are lazy, not coming to the Fajr. So he was trying the hardest thing. There was a person who was so close to the deen, alhamdulillah, he embraced Islam, but they even designated for me an area in the restaurant downstairs to talk to him. I talked to him for half an hour. And every time I say to him, I know. It doesn't make me continue. I know. So what are you waiting for? Everything I know. He stops me. I know. He said, I don't know. I said, how do you guarantee you're going to leave? He said, I know, alive from here. So everything that I'm going to say, he knows it. How do you guarantee you're going to live until we say the Shahada? When? The only thing I could do is just make dua for you, my brother. But alhamdulillah, later when I asked about it, he said, alhamdulillah. He knows everything. Aqidah, Tawheed, Rububiyyah, everything. He read books, and he knows about who embraced Islam, Mike Tyson and all of that. He knows them. But there's something there holding him. Alhamdulillah, as I said, he embraced Islam. At least, I want to embrace Islam after I go to Egypt or something. I want to go to a Muslim country. Alhamdulillah. Right.
Supplicating and using the if you so wish. In Istikhara, for example.
So Istikhara is mentioned in the book by Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. I can bring it because Istikhara has nothing to do with if you wish. No, if you know. There's no something if you wish. So that's why I didn't bring it, because I don't want to cause confusion amongst you. Salatul Istikhara is that, oh Lord, if you know this is good for me, then do it. It's nothing to do if you wish, as in if you're not capable of doing it. So I'm leaving this to your knowledge. Oh Lord, make me to live if you know that the life is good for me. This is if you are in extreme situation. You don't say that dua when you are healthy. No, you are ill, so ill. So you are now desperate. And the pain is so much. You say, oh Lord, make me to die if death is good for me, and make me to live if life is good. So I'm leaving it for your knowledge. I'm not saying that if you wish without. No, I'm saying if you will, if it is according to your knowledge, it's better for me. Whereas the other one, if you wish, it's hints that Allah Azza is not capable of doing it, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being compelled to do it, or you are not even caring about the dua. That's different. No, I'm coming to dua istikhara because I'm asking Allah. But I'm saying that this thing which I want to do, okay, I don't know if it's good for me or not. So you're not asking about like the mercy, oh Lord, mercy, have mercy upon me if you know mercy is good for me. You don't say that, do you? Oh Lord, forgive for me. If you think forgiveness is good for me, forgive for me. What are you talking about? Forgiveness is good for you. But I want to marry this wife. I want to buy this car. I want to purchase this house. I don't know if that wife or that car or that house is good for me. Oh Lord, if you know this house is good for me, this woman is good for me, this car is good for me, make that for me. And you say to the heart, وَقْدُرْهُ لِي. Make it. You don't say, Give it to me if you wish. If you knew this is good, then give it to me. So there's affirmation here. There's a determination. There's no hesitation. But you see, if you know this is good, then give it to me. But you don't say, for example, oh Lord, have mercy upon me if you know that mercy is good for me. What is that? It's nonsense. That's nuisance in the dua. Have mercy upon me if you think mercy is good for me. And oh Lord, take away hellfire from me if you think hellfire is no good for me. Oh Allah, make me enter paradise if you think paradise is good for me. I mean, doesn't work. Do you understand that?
I understand it, but is it not derogative and wrong to use the word if you know to Allah? Allah knows.
No, I am asking, it's not because as derogative, which is like saying, I'm saying, oh Lord, you have no knowledge. So, if you have the knowledge, then do it. If you have the knowledge, no, I'm not saying this. I'm saying, oh Lord, إني أستخيرك بعلمك وأستقدرك بقدرتك وأسألك من فضلك العظيم. إن كنت تعلم, if you know, and you know, and this is good for me, then your knowledge, oh Lord, implement it to help me to determine my thing. I'm not saying that this is an Arabic language. In English, it doesn't work. In English, it means maybe he doesn't know. That's what it means. No. So, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لو أن فاطمة بنت محمد, if Fatima, for Muhammad is to steal, does the Prophet ﷺ think that Fatima will steal? So this is, we call it imtina'. I don't understand that word for you. That imtina'. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So if you know that it's not going to happen, that Allah will not know. In Arabic, it hasn't got that problem. In English, it has. Do you understand that? So when he said, if Fatima is going to steal, he knows the Prophet that Fatima is not going to steal. But this is the impossible. Okay, now, Jazakallah khair for that question. Fadl Ahmed. Before Ahmed, ya akhwan. I said that 200 times. If you understand, say, when he's talking to me, I was thinking about the uncle. Then somebody, please, I said to you brothers, and I said to the brother, where is he? That's you. The last time. Please, for the sake of uncle, remind me. I forget, because uncle is sitting on that side, so he's got the right to start the question. Wallahi, I've been, from the first one, you want to go to him, he made me forget. He's going to make me forget. Sorry, uncle, for that. It's your students who are the ones that are the culprits. No. You do have the right to question, but you have the right to start. Prophet said, Kitab. When these two people came to talk about the story of the king of, the brother of one of them. The brother, he's the younger, and the person who is not a brother, is not even a relative, is the older. So the brother of that killed one uncle, he's, according to what we believe, he's got more right to speak to the Prophet about the king of his brother. So as soon as he wanted to talk about it, he said, Kabir, let the person who's older than you speak, even if it's got nothing to do with the relationship with that person. Kabir. So we have to understand the etiquette. If somebody's older, he's got the first question to have. Number one, because maybe he's got no time to sit. He's tired. He's got no, whatever. So the reason has to be. So I, as a human being, when I talk, I forget. So please remind me of what.
Regarding salam, Sheikh, I've heard people saying, when a brother's
oh, sorry. I just opening and closing. Opening and closing.
When somebody says Assalamu alaikum, the other person answers Alaikum salam. He doesn't say what. That's number one.
So saying Alaikum salam, no problem.
No problem?
No problem.
Okay.
Yes, second one.
Second one is somebody has been talking to a group of people and then he said, I'm going, ma salama. He used the word ma salama.
Ma'asalama means, may Allah give you safety. No problem. But even when he goes, he should say Assalamu alaikum as well. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Mathaniyah or Mal'ula awla min athani. That is the first salutation. It hasn't got the priority to forget about the second one. First one is when you meet him. Second one when you leave him. So the second one does not have less importance than the first one. Prophet said, the priority goes to both. Just like you are eager to say salam when you see, you say salam when you leave, when you depart. Both of them are to be compulsory, inshallah. Okay, Uncle? Anything else? Fadal. Now. Ferrero, you have any questions? Fadal.
Chef, you mentioned about the name of Allah. Some Pakistani brothers, they do this kind of zikr.
Yeah.
And they just shake their heads, Allahu, Allahu, the likes of. What's your take on this?
Allahu, Allahu. Allah means the name of Allah. Who? Him. Allahu. But they make it as one name. It sounds like hallelujah. Okay, these people, they believe, before I give them now a help, I'm going to give them a help, but it's not the right help, wrong help. They believe that mentioning Allah, the name of Allah, a number of times, is going to give them more closeness to Allah. That's what they believe. These are the more general people. So we say to them, okay, is what you're saying ibadah or not ibadah? If they say it's ibadah, then alhamdulillah, it's not aada, it's not like something from the dunya, it's from the deen, because you're getting close to Allah. Now every ibadah has to fulfill the conditions. Sincerity, and I'm sure that inshallah I'm not going to doubt your sincerity because you're sincere, you're shaking your head 24 hours, I don't know how long. So maybe sincere. But the second is that you follow the Prophet. So did you follow the Prophet? If you follow him, I will follow him like this. I will shake even more. I will jump if you wish. If you see the Prophet jumping, I'll jump. If he shakes, I'll shake. So if you are sincere, I'm not going to concern about myself, my sincerity. I'm sure maybe you're sincere. Even the ones who are Buddhists, they're sincere in their ibadah as well. But are they doing the right, correct thing or not? That's the question, big question. So can you give me from the Prophet ﷺ that he used to do this dhikr, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, or Latif, Latif, 1,000 times? Or Allah, 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 1,000. You might keep saying, you know what, something when I say it, I get into that mode. Huh? Into that mode which is like I'm flying with Allah Azza wa Jalla. I don't know, okay, is there any difference between saying Allah, 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 monkey, 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 monkey 1,000 times? Same thing again, the same thing. Because when you start saying something for a long time, you get dizzy. You're not different between these people who say Krishna, 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 Krishna. You know the people who are Krishna, 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 Krishna. Same thing. There's no difference. So basically your feelings, what you feel when you say something, if we're not going to legalize. I am saying to you, if the Prophet of Allah done it, don't you believe that the Prophet of Allah left for us nothing that will get us closer to paradise, that he had commanded us with, and left us nothing that will get us close to the hellfire, that he had prohibited us from doing? Yes, you see that? Then he had taught us even how to go to the toilet. Toilet manners. So you tell me, where's the touch of the Prophet of Allah? Because if you said this is good, then I'm going to say the Prophet of Allah had fallen short, not to show you that way that you have just discovered. Which is he saying this? I'm going to say to you, well, the Prophet of Allah means really, he did not, he was really betrayed. He betrayed us. Not to tell us about your way. Or you are accusing even worse, Allah the Almighty Azza wa Jal. Yeah, it's not really good enough to send us the Prophet of Allah. Or even worse, you're accusing yourself to be a God, or giving a new Sharia for us. So be careful. So I'll give you the help, as I said. I'm not going to help, but they might say, and they maybe haven't said because they're ignorant. There's a hadith in the Prophet of Allah. And he says, Prophet ﷺ, he said, لَن تَقُمَ السَّاعَةُ Sa'a will not take place until there will be nobody on the face of the earth who would say, Allah, Allah. That is the same Muslim. Allah, double, Allah. See, look, Allah, Allah. So the hour will not take place until there will be nobody saying, that means we have to say Allah, Allah, akhi. Because that means a bad sign, Allah, Allah. I said then, okay. Before I tackle this, so this is Allah, Allah. So why do you say Latif, 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 Latif? So that's wrong. So you say Latif, 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 Latif 1,000 times. So stick to Allah, 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 Allah. Why do you say Allahu, 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 Allahu? Ya be Salafi. Allah, 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 Allah. That's number 2. So 2 things. Latif, Latif, Allahu, Allahu. Number 3, the knockout. first of all, not the knockout, the knockout's the last one. Number 3. Prophet ﷺ said, the same hadith, which is the same narration, he said there will be nobody saying, La ilaha illallah. So Allah means what? La ilaha. And the knockout, which is the 4th thing, and that is, if it is Allah, Allah, where is in the hadith or the action of the companions that they used to sit to say Allah, Allah? There isn't. So you are interpreting the hadith the way that you want. You have invented this way, elevated this way, and then you looked into the Sharia to something to help. Oh yes! Okay? Like the person was it's a joke, but this person was saying everything in the Quran, everything in the Islam, regardless of what you say, is mentioned in the Quran. One person was a disbeliever said, what are you talking about? Everything in the Quran. My name is Mr. Cook. Where is that in the Quran? He said, oh, there is. What did I cook? Verse in Surah Al-Jumu'ah. It's a cook. There's a cook there. So he mentioned سبحان الله. طيب سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.